Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to be making a direct sequel to the Destiny 2 Warlock Void 3.0 build that I made a little while ago. If you have not seen that and want to go check it out, it's in my channel. Just go find it. It's not very old, so have fun with that. But this time, I wanted to make one for my Titan, obviously. If you guys want one for Hunter, please let me know in the comments. It would be a blast to do. And I'd have to replay the Sabbathian Witch Queen campaign again, but no big deal. I can get that done in a day, so not a big deal for me there. This build is pretty user dependent. Like, it really depends on like what you like to use yourself, but this is what I like to use, and I think it pairs very, very well with my subclass. So without further ado, let's get into it. For our weapons, I like Hawkman. I think it's the best hand cannon in the game. This is by no means a god roll. I don't know what your god roll would be, but I would want as high base range as you can, and probably moving target or like Eye of the Storm, something like that. Mainly because I don't think you need rangefinder with this thing. If you watch some of my Hawkmoon videos, or if you've seen my main Hawkmoon video where I said it was really, really good, you would know that I don't think this thing needs it. Reasons for it is because this thing already has very good range already, like base, and this isn't even max range roll. This is probably like mid to a little bit farther range. I don't actually know, but you can get this thing's range juiced up pretty high without having to rely on rangefinder. And yeah, rangefinder is good if you have a lower range stat roll, but I think that you don't need it based on that, and the fact that the catalyst, every single time you get a charge, a paracasual, it's going to increase the weapon range, handling, and reload speed based on how many charges you have. So you're getting increased range per crit you hit. So honestly, if you have higher crits or if you have higher charges, you don't really need to rely much on rangefinder. I don't think it's necessary. I have moving target here, so I get increased movement speed and target acquisition when I'm ADSing. So my gun feels a little bit more precise, which I think is very good. As for a secondary, I'm using my 7th Sarah shotgun here. I really don't know if I want to keep using this thing as much, just because the iron sights are so abysmal and I don't have the ornament to fix it. That being said, this is a super good shotgun. It being a lightweight frame, we do get to move a little bit faster when having it, just having it out at least, which I really, really like. This is the one Banshee was selling. Quick draw snap, assault mag. You probably want something like full choke in this, but obviously he didn't sell that, so we were making do with what we have. Running corkscrew just because it gives bonuses to range. You really don't need barrel shroud when these two are both on it. Handling is kind of just not necessary on it. So we have this. I also use Retold Tail, and if I had one, I would use a Godroll Matador over everything, just because I think it has the best perks to stats to iron sight ratio, and I just think it's a super fun shotgun to use. But if aggressives are more your speed, Felwinter's is a very good pick, and so is the Found Verdict. That is also a very good pick. So pick your poison, I guess they say. But moving on to heavy, I'm using my Half-Truth Sword. This is not ideal in my opinion. Eager Edge is good, but with the nerfs, I don't think it's as consistent as it once was to like lunging at somebody and killing them in one hit. So I mainly use this thing to just get out of situations really, really quick. I think it's really, really good for that. But if they start pushing in, then I can get an easy sword kill. But typically, I wouldn't use something like this. I would much rather use like a legendary juicer or grenade launcher. But I don't think I have one of those for PvP. So we're making do with what we got. My exotic, I like to run One-Eyed Mask. The main reason I use One-Eyed Mask is I really like the overshield I get after Vengeance after I get a kill and get Vengeance. I think it's really, really good. And it just is another way to get overshields without going into my class abilities quite yet. I just think overall this thing is very, very versatile in what you use. But if you like Titan's Ramparts, or if you like No Backup Plans, by all means, go ahead and use them. They are both very, very good picks as well. But it all really depends on your play style. I just think this one's better all around. Cresta Alpha Lupi is also another really, really good pick, because every single time you're going to cast your barricade, not only are you going to get overshield from the remnants, which we'll get into that, or the aspects or whatever, but we'll get into that, but it's also going to heal you at the same time, so you're getting both at once, which is really, really good there. Dune Marcher is another good pick if you like to get in their face with shotguns. just because you get faster sprint and the chain melees is always fun. I don't know if it works with the pizza thrower, but that would have to be tested. But that goes without saying. Whatever. Stats, here they are right here, as you can see. 4 mobility, 60 resilience. I don't think you really need anything higher than this necessarily. Higher is good if you want to get more overshields, but because I'm using something like One-Eyed Mask, I really don't need to build into it as much, so I'm not too focused on that. But you would probably want around middle, like bare minimum at least 5, so keep that in mind. As for recovery, max, always max. Recovery, in my opinion, is the most important stat in the game because you can move from one fight to the another a lot quicker based on how high this is. If I get a kill with 1 resilience, I'm going to regen my health a lot slower versus 10. It's going to be way better for being able to peek out quicker. Definitely something you want to invest a lot into, in my opinion. I have 7 discipline. Now, I would want this to be higher, but I think 7 is a good number. Probably 6 is minimum, honestly, on this. Discipline's probably the second most important stat now with Void 3.0, just because the grenades and the ways you can build them are so good. So I would get a base, or like a base of 6. If you have to juice it a little bit, just get it to 6 at least. Intellect, a lot of my armor has high intellect built into it, which is unfortunate for me because you really don't need intellect that much anymore. You probably only need like 5 to 6. So I would go for something like that. But if you like a little bit more intellect, by all means, you can do it. I don't think you necessarily need it, but you do you. Strength, I would want this a tiny bit higher, maybe to like 5, but I think that 4 is also pretty decent at least. We get her melee back somewhat quick. It's not like super fast or anything like that, but with some of the mods, it's not really a big issue. Speaking of, let's get right into it. On our helmet, running discipline mod. Kinetic Siphon, that is a more important one. So every more rapid kinetic weapon final blows creates orbs of power. So I can become Charge of Light very quickly. And High Energy Fire, because every single time I am charged with light, I get bonus weapon damage, which makes my weapons more consistent, and I get a little bit more forgiveness with things like Hawkmoon, where I can hit 2 crit 1 body on Guardians. Second one here, Fastball. I think Fastball is a really good perk. I feel like it's slept on. I don't know how many people actually use Fastball, but I've always run Fastball on pretty much every single character. I like having higher grenade distance. They travel faster. I just think overall it's really, really good, especially for the energy cost, it only being 1. So keep that in mind. I'm running Quick Charge on my gloves here. I think it's pretty much just better shoddy decks. Because you become Charged with Light by getting a lot of shoddy kills while also getting the increased ready speed on your shotguns just by having this on if you have other arc mods equipped. So definitely good there. Here, Unflinching Hand Cannon aim. Hawkmoon is all about crits, so being able to hit your crits under fire is very important. So I think that Unflinching Hand Cannon aim is very, very much needed. And taking charge so he can become Charged with Light by picking up orbs, which is very good. As for our boots, I run Shoddy Holster. I really like Shoddy Holster. I think it's extremely good. I've seen some people run Hand Cannon Holster, which I don't think actually is a good idea. If you're using something like Hawkmoon, I think when it loads a gun into the chamber, you lose your Paracasuals, which if you're wanting to 1-tap or 2-tap people, it kind of just ruins it, and it kind of just makes the gun not as good, in my opinion. Radiant Light also, so every single time I cast my super around my allies, they become Charged with Light, so it feeds into more builds, and I get plus 20 to my strength, which is also very, very good there. And lastly, our Mark. Here we have Outreach, so I'm going to get my melee back, like I was saying, by popping my class ability, which is very, very fun there, and Powerful Friends. So when you become Charged with Light, nearby allies also become Charged with Light if they are not already. Very awesome there. So I'm going to get Charged with Light, causing my other teammates to get Charged with Light, so it's a really good synergy, and you get plus 20 to mobility, which you can never go wrong with. So finally, we're getting into the actual abilities and fragments and aspects of the thing. First off, super. Most people use Bubble. And I get that. Bubble is very, very good, especially right now in the weapon meta, but I don't really like using Bubble. I really like using Sentinel Shield. I think it's a lot of fun, and I actually think it's very oppressive in PvP. Throwing the shield is a lot of fun. You can get a lot of kills with that, and with the way that my build is set up, if I hit one of you, you will explode, and then that'll be very, very fun because you're going to kill your teammates. Abilities, I use Towering Barricade. I'm seeing a lot more people nowadays using Rally Barricades because of the shorter cooldown time with Lorelei. I don't think the extra like 8 seconds is actually worth it. I think the Towering Barricade is much better because you can just block off pretty much all forms of fire. Jump, I use Strafe. Some people use Catapult, but I personally like Strafe. Shield Throw because there's nothing else, and it's also very fun. And for our grenade, I like to run Axion Bolt. I think it's the lowest skilled. I think just throwing it at somebody, it attracts them. It does all the work for you. So I don't really have to think too much about my grenades. I just throw it at you, and it's going to chase you. As for our aspects, I use Bastion, obviously. So when I cast my barricade, I get Overshield and anybody who's around me, which is awesome. And it says when you cast your super, you grant Overshield to your nearby allies, which I really like. And Offensive Bulwark here. While I have Overshield, my grenade charges faster, so that means more Axions, which I also really like. Getting into our fragments, I use Echo of Leeching for 2 reasons. Melee Final Blows start health regen. This has kept me alive more times than I can count in PvP, especially in 6s. It can help in 3s, but you also get plus 10 to resilience, which I also really, really like being on Titan, because having higher resilience means faster cooldowns to your shields, which I very much like. And as a shotgun ape, if I shotgun melee you, I'm going to get my health regen. I really like that. So that is why I use Echo of Leeching. Next, I use Echo of Expulsion. So every single void ability I get causes our targets to explode. That is extremely fun, and you get plus 10 to intellect, so you do get a little bit juicier intellect too. So if you do have a little bit lower than average, you also get a plus to that, which I really, really like. Now, these ability kills, you're going to get most of them, I think, with your super and your grenade. You can with the melee, but I don't think it happens super often, at least for me. So keep that in mind. The reason why I like this is if I get 1 kill with my Axion nade, sometimes it'll actually one-shot. I don't know if it one-shots, but it'll kill weaker targets around the person that I graped, which is very fun. It's very good, especially for people who like to hold hands. So there is that. And the last void fragment is Echo of Undermining. So what this does is makes our grenades weaken people. So weaken, basically they take increased damage and their movement speed is slowed, which is very, very good in Crucible, as you can already tell. And all I have to do is hit you with my Grape, which is super overpowered. You did get minus 20 to Discipline, but with some of the mods that I run, I don't think Discipline is much of a problem for me. It might be for you, but it's definitely not for me. And with Offensive Bulwark, our grenade's going to charge significantly faster while and I have increased melee range and damage just by having an Overshield. I don't know if Offensive Bulwark works with One-Eyed Mask, but if it does, that's even more disgusting. I really hope it does, but don't expect it to. Let's just say that. But yeah, that goes for my entire build, guys. That is my entire Void 3.0 Titan build for PvP. If you guys enjoyed, please consider a like and subscription. It'll really help the channel grow, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.